Hey there, welcome to another edition of the Akashic Portal Insight to the week. We're looking at the week of February 16th through the 22nd, 2020. I've prepared the cards. My name is Jen Duchenne, and I'm using the Illuminating Journey Cards that were created by me with the influence or help of the Akashic Records. So let's see what the cards are bringing forward. I do know we have Mercury in retrograde at the beginning, and lots of people get very excited about the idea that Mercury is going into retrograde. And something to really think about is this idea of expansion of the mind. Mercury is about communication in our mind and allowing our minds to expand into a place of deeper knowing. It's a kind of a withdrawal into what is true. And at this time, it's in Pisces, which is our deep secrets, our deep fears, the unconscious within us, what is imprisoned that wants to be released, perhaps even our disgust about things that we're afraid to reveal. And now we're coming to terms with it. So it really is something to celebrate. To know more about the depth of who we are is indeed a wonderful thing. Let's see what the cards have to say about this week. All right, so the first card here is the Soul Portal number 19. And what strikes me about this card is this sense of freedom that it brings. There's a sense of exuberance in this idea of releasing ourselves from old ideas, restrictive ideas. So it feels very much like the card is saying, you know, we have a history, and much of our history has been focused, or our belief around our history, our responses to history have been around fixed ideas that have been fed to us. So we've been spoon-fed certain belief systems, and we've gobbled it all up. Yum, 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 it's so delicious. And this card is saying that it's time to release ourselves from that bondage of looking at our lives through the limitation of what somebody else has decided is our nourishment, what is true for us. And so we're going, no, I've kind of partaken of those meals, and now I want to move forward out of this idea of being beholden to a certain taste, to a certain way of doing things, thinking about things. So it feels very expansive, and actually feels very heart expansive. So it's through our emotion that we shift our energy. We begin to have deeper realizations, because it is through our emotions that we actually free ourselves. It is through our emotions that we can take in bigger ideas and take risk, have courage, right? It's our emotion, our heart, that allows us to live with courage. And so this feels very explosive in a sense, very calm and yet explosive, this idea of gaining freedom, pushing up this energy, pushing up and out of a fixed idea, a fixed way of being, into a much more vibrant awareness. Just kind of this electrical energy coming from the chalice, this idea of the female energy, the intuition, the knowing we have access to, that we can connect to. There's also a new moon here, which is this idea of seeding new things. So it really feels like a listening is happening. And I was talking about Mercury retrograde, so I find that interesting that we have this not only liquid and water and ocean, but this energy that is being created through electricity touching water. So we're being galvanized into a new way of thinking, of being, of making choices that feel not only heartfelt, heart-based, but very earth-based. Like we're looking at the energy of the earth, the mystery of the earth. We're feeling the pull towards being more connected in that way. So card number 2, we have the soul portal number 4. So we've gone from the 19, which is the 1 and 9, which make 10, which make 1. So the wisdom of the self, invigorated, inspired, and then the 4, and of course the 4 relates to the year that we're in, 2020. 2 plus 2 is 4. So it's very much this energy of being aware of what we're creating, like knowing things are crumbling, new things are being made. And as I look at this, I feel like there's this energy of the detective, the spark of the detective within us that is looking beyond the obvious, looking beyond what we've been shown or being told, into a much more free-flowing, energetic exchange. The awareness, let me look at the past, let me look at the present, let me look at what is possible in the future. And as you can see, there's a lot of energy, again, connecting us to the earth. So this feels very earthy, and so does this. It's this awareness, this awakening of ourselves into a sense of earthiness, into a sense of urgency, and letting the blood flow through us, that we can connect to the cosmos, to the energy of the land, to what we may consider ruin, to fire, to kind of fire us up and get us to move or dance or just feel that energy flowing through us, as in this being here, connecting to what is above, to the earth, and letting that energy fill yourself, fill your life. It's like, oh, there's so much more here than the obvious or what people have told me. There's so much more meaning, and there's also so much more resource in attaching to these things. And the third one is the 3. So that's very interesting. 3 soul portal, the 12. So it's going from here we are, the external energy of rising above and connecting to the earth, coming to this idea of being much more aware and awake in our sense of the role we're playing in our lives right now, in the world, on the world stage, that we all have a role to play, and that we must take our places and begin to see things differently. And then we come to this card, the Soul Portal 12, which feels this sense of being connected to our root, to our sense of self, to our heart, to our spiritual energy, and this relationship of looking to spirit, to the idea of what is contained within us, what is valuable within us that can be used to help us move away from fear, away from distraction, into the essence of self, because it's from the essence of self that we then move forward, become more of who we are. We take greater risks because we're listening to a much higher energy. I almost feel like this energy here is kind of, some kind of dragon energy that is being consulted. This energy of the earth, this energy of the cosmos that is mystical and magical and has great depth and great wisdom. And if you think of yourself as this figure asking for guidance, asking for help in order to surrender the old, the ego, what the packaged learning, and move away. It's like, give me the strength to walk through these new openings. Give me the strength to release what I've learned. Guide me to this place of humility, in a sense. Like, I don't know what I don't know, and I'm willing to kind of walk in wonder, right? And be open and enter this phase of the magical, the alchemical, that is so rich and so full. And there's so much learning to do on a different level of discovery. There's so much to discover and appreciate and become part of in this journey. So there you have it. Those are the 3 cards for this week, taking us from the green to the reds to the pinks, from the external energies to the internal, to the actually taking the journey, right? So when we are aware that we must rise above, restructure, or be the detective in the world around us, and take the risk of taking a new journey, a pilgrimage, if you will, to a new understanding, where the things that we already know have been or must be discarded or brought in a whole different way. I hope that resonates with you. I'd love to hear what is coming up for you when you see these cards. The 19, which is a 1, the 4, and then the 12, which is a 3. So 3, 4, and 1. Very, very potent energy that is moving around us and giving us the independence to separate ourselves from a collective that is no longer serving us. So it doesn't mean we shouldn't come back to the collective, but it's about being more discerning about how we enter the collective, coming from a place of seeing and knowing and awareness, and being willing to work with it, as opposed to coming with a very rigid idea and refusing to see or work with the unknown or the things we don't like, and just going, okay, this is what it is. How do I work with this? How do I shift? So please let me know what's come up for you, what is sparking for you. I'd love to hear it. And I'd love to invite you to join me on my channel. Please subscribe. And if you would like your own set of cards, of these Illuminating Journey cards, they are available on my website, jendushen.com/illuminating journey cards. Let's take this journey together. Now, one of the incredible things about these cards is their knowledge and wisdom they hold that allow each of us to take our own journey and feel supported. And we're living in a new world, and we need to be able to read and be guided in new ways so that we can take this journey with greater courage, with greater lightness, so we can move into a new way of being. I look forward to talking with you next week.